This is Ryan Elliott for Boxing Social in association with Betfred. We're in Las Vegas today. Delighted to bump into Lerrone Richards down here at the Linares gym. Lerrone, I understand you're out here doing a bit of training. We've got Dubois-Joyce and obviously Sam Jones, your manager as well. Talking about coming out here and sort of this experience of training out in Vegas.
Absolutely, it's been a great experience. I'm working with Ismail Salas. I'm learning as much as I can, basically taking everything in like a sponge. So yeah, great experience for me.
How long are you planning on being out here, and what kind of guys have you been sparring as well down in this gym?
Well, I sparred today. Done a few rounds today just to, get in the sort of run of things. But I'll be out here for like 7 weeks, getting myself into great condition for my next fight.
You say you're getting yourself in great condition for your next fight. What is the next step? Obviously, finished the year on a high last year, claiming the British title, adding it to the Commonwealth title. What is the next step for you? Are you looking to push on to bigger and better things now, beyond the domestic scene, maybe?
Absolutely. Well, now I feel I've proved that I'm the best super middleweight in Britain, excluding all the world level fighters. And it's time for me to move on now to world level. And my next fight will be for the WBC silver. I'm moving in sort of contention for a world title shot.
Any news on dates, etc.? Obviously here with your stablemate Joe-Joyce, he's working towards that huge fight with Daniel Dubois, maybe a slot on there. Any sort of news on dates?
Well, hopefully I can get on the April bill, but if not May, I'm just waiting on the team, Frank Warren and S-Jam, to get something pinned down, and then we'll go from there. But, I'm always ready. I'm ready now. I'm always in shape. But it's a few things here that I need to tweak to become a world-class fighter.
I found it interesting that you said to me off camera, I'm sure you won't mind me saying, that you feel you need that step up now to bring out the best in you, that perhaps, in the last few fights you've just been doing enough to get the win, maybe lacking that tiny little bit of motivation. Is that how you feel now, that going to European, borderline world level, we'll see the best of you?
Absolutely, and I'm looking forward to it now. I'm buzzing. I wanted to show everyone that I was the best in Great Britain and the Commonwealth, and I've done that now, and it's time for me to push on and really showcase my skill set. There's a lot of things people ain't seen of me as of yet, but they'll see it soon enough, yeah, for sure.
Just to go back to that Lennox Clark fight at the end of the year, how do you reflect upon that performance? I'm sure you've watched it back and sort of critiqued yourself. What do you make of it?
It wasn't my best performance. I should have really got Lennox Clark out of there. I had opportunities where I could have. But like I say, I feel like lack of motivation. But obviously, no excuses. It was a good fight. I feel that the fight was entertaining, and me and Lennox gave a good account of ourselves, and we move forward now.
Now, if you grab that WBC silver title, it has been helpful to sort of domestic fighters looking for that next push over the past few years. I remember Josh Taylor picking that up against Zahar Davis and getting himself a nice WBC ranking. All being well, and you managed to get yourself in line for a shot at that title when you have a date. How many months, how many sort of years, if so, do you feel you are away from sort of getting yourself in contention and eventually going on to challenge for world honours as well?
Well, after I win this belt, I want big names. I want top fights. I would even move up to light heavyweight to get them shots as well. I'm big enough, I'm strong enough. And, we'll just see what happens. After I've got a good team in Frank Warren and S-Jam that's going to direct my career in the right direction.
Being out here in Las Vegas, we saw Joe sparring there, his first spar. You mentioned you were sort of sparring as well earlier. How does it differ being in a camp like this, away from home, away from all the distractions? Is it just purely about boxing? How beneficial is it?
It is beneficial. It's not the first time I've done it. I've done it a few times before. But sometimes you need to step out of your comfort zone and learn new things and experience new things, experience new surroundings, etc. Great experience, and under, say, the guidance of Ismail Salas as well, you're only going to improve.
Is there any little bits of wisdom you picked up from Ismail? He's obviously sat just behind us speaking to my colleague Rob, a great mind in the boxing world, worked with plenty of world-class fighters. Is there anything that's sort of rubbed off so far?
Yeah, there's been a few things. My style is based off, rhythm. We're in the gym, we're always dancing, enjoying ourselves, and obviously some serious work goes on in the gym, and I'm really enjoying it, and we bounce off each other, me and Ishmael, so it's great.
Also out here, as we mentioned a couple of times, Joe-Joyce, we just watched him have his first spar at camp as he looks ahead to that Daniel Dubois fight. Huge fight for the heavyweight scene and a huge fight for Britain as well. How do you see Joe faring in that fight, and how much credit does he deserve for taking such a risky fight?
First of all, I want to go back to when Joe was an amateur. And Joe was a top amateur. Won Olympic silver medal, really should have been a gold medal. Won numerous amount of titles internationally as well. And I don't think he's getting enough credit for that. And I feel like people need to start getting behind Joe-Joyce and really start believing in Joe, because I do. and I feel like this fight is not going to be what people think it's going to be. They feel like Daniel Dubois is going to go and chin Joe, but trust me, there's more. There's a lot of tricks that Joe has, and I believe that Joe can go out and get the victory.
Joe, obviously, as you mentioned, was a world-class amateur, but since you've sort of been closer and been around him and seen him in the gym as well, what is it about him in particular that's impressed you up close and personal?
Well, I've known Joe for years now. We went to the same amateur boxing club, so I've known Joe for a long time now. And, Joe's got a terrific jab. He's faster than what people think. People think he's slow and sluggish, but trust me, he's very deceiving. And on the 11th of April, people will see what Joe-Joyce is all about.
What does a win do for Joe if he does overcome Daniel Dubois? You mentioned he's Frank Warren's sort of golden goose, so to speak. He seems to be the favourite going into this fight, even though it is an ultra-competitive fight. Should Joe get the win, does that catapult him right in amongst the division's big boys in what is a great time for this division?
Well, let's think about this, because Joe-Joyce is WBA gold champion right now, and he's ranked number 1 by the WBA. So Joe's already at that level. If in theory Joe-Joyce is sort of going back to clear up, so once Joe-Joyce has done his job on the 11th, he would just be back where he was, and but even more so, people want to see him fight at the higher level against the big boys.
Speaking of the big boys, it's a couple of big boys that's brought us to town this weekend. Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury for the WBC world title. Huge rematch, Lerrone. Tyson Fury has changed his training team around. He says he's looking for a more aggressive approach in this fight. We saw him today at the Grand Arrivals, again, following up his claim that he's going for a second round knockout. Do you believe Tyson when he says he's going for a more aggressive approach this time?
You got to believe him. You got to take him, what he says. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, Tyson Fury's no fool. He's very smart, and he knows what he's doing. I think Tyson, everyone knows the fight goes either one way, 2 ways. Deontay Wilder by knockout or Fury by points. But I just feel like Fury's got the skills and he's got the IQ to win this fight by late stoppage or by points, I believe.
If he does decide to sort of sit down this shot a bit more and trade a bit more at times without being completely reckless, as we sort of expect, he will be a bit more aggressive. Can you explain to me how you can sort of take that approach when you're in there with a puncher without completely putting yourself at risk? What can he do differently? If I
was Fury, I would box very, very intelligently for the first, say, 6 to 7 rounds, and then, as the fight goes on, maybe plant your feet a little bit more, then move again, and just be a little bit more savvy. But I believe his coach Sugar Hill now has got a good game plan for him, and I believe Fury will get the victory by points or late stoppage.
Well, Lerrone, thank you for speaking to me. Thank you for speaking to Boxing Social as always. I'm sure we'll catch you when you've got some concrete fight news for us. But enjoy the rest of your stay in Las Vegas as well. I'm sure we'll catch you very soon.
Thank you very much. I just want to thank my sponsor, FCI Markets, and BoxFit for all their support.
Lerrone, we'll catch you soon.